Well, there's low grip, and there's what we saw a little bit earlier on. Monumentally difficult conditions for the drivers in free practice. Not the most representative of sessions as a result. A little bit of rain falling as well. This was on the way to get in position for the start of this qualifying session. Big brake fire there for Victor Martins. So they'll be having a look at trying to rectify that before the session begins, as it is doing now.
All complement of drivers in the field, including 3 debutants for this session. Luke Browning, Gabriel Mini and Christian Mansell all leap up from F3, which had its championship conclusion in Monza, to F2 here in Baku. Browning and Mansell in for the rest of the season. Gabriel Mini subbing in for Oliver Behrman, who is in place for Kevin Magnussen.
Sector, the LDF wing, all about the speed in this section where championship leader Isaac Hadjar is coaxing his Campos to begin his first flying lap.
So much movement with the cars in corners that we don't normally see it, but the surface, for whatever reason, is low on grip, and it's going to have to be a lap, if it's good enough for the front of the field, that's high on talent. Let's go on board with the man who's been the class of the field so far. This is round 12 of the champ. Really, really tough stuff for everyone out there at the moment. Hadjar with the benchmark time, a 1:57.4. We've had a yellow flag for a while in sector number 1. Haven't yet picked up why that is in third. Villa Gomez goes to 4th. Now the track is clear, so that won't interrupt any of these laps. Miney immediately hits the front of the field and is replaced by Gabriel Bortoleto. And Crawford moves ahead of Correa. Antonelli moves ahead of all of them. Half a second clear of Gabriel Bortoleto, second in the point standings. Now Richard Verschoor hits the front of the field ahead of Victor Martins, who is one of our 14 different race winners this year, single lap.
Monumental differences between the drivers on that first run as we've got Hauger off the road.
So that is why we had the yellow flag. And it was there for a while. It was there for about 30 seconds. Hauger crucially keeping it going in the session.
Okay, any damage in the car? Any damage in the car? No, 0.
Try and find the limit on the second.
You've got to try and wipe it, get down there and make sure you nail that first braking point. If you can nail the first and nail the second, then the rest of the lap will follow from there. But the early error has to be avoided for the second lap in a row, because there's only one more set of super soft tyres after this.
His first campaign, he's had lots of chances this year, and he is about to complete the lap. DRS wide open to increase the speed in the zones around the circuit that you are permitted to use it, and he will cut the beam and move up to 12th position. Browning, as it stands, long way to go though. This is on board with Isaac Hadjar coming across the line and moving up to 4th. He's not the last one though in that queue of cars building up to the highest speed on the circuit. And Verschoor, who is always so good around street circuits, once again finding great pace on a second push lap. He's good enough to improve at the moment. Girth has gone up to 6 to cut the beam. Then Mini following with a tidy little toe. That could be handy. Antonelli up to 2nd. Mini up to 5th, still times to come, even better times from Richard Verschoor, who's brought Victor Martins with him to the front row, as Browning, great lap from him, up to 8th. From
Martins managing to drag across the line to get himself up to 2nd place. Hauger pushing again, and the track is moving forward so quickly that even this softest compound of tyre is yielding a couple of laps of benefit. Hauger moving around on the way in, moving around on the way out of turn 15 as he tries to close this lap.
Racing to cross the line and see where you've improved to. It's 14th. Hauger will have higher expectations for run number 3 in this session.
To turn 18 there, really close with a nasty wiggle of oversteer through the mid-corner. Here's new boy Browning just managing to keep it out of the wall in turn 15, where we saw Ollie Goethe with the issue earlier on in free practice.
Big moment, but dances it to the edge, not beyond for Browning at Monza. We're on board with him once again. This is going to be pushing on, so this is another attempt for the man currently in 7th.
These drivers, with such interrupted free practice, are saying over the radio to the teams, I can improve, guys. I can still improve.
He's not having any real improvement, Sector 1, Sector 2. That's not the case for Hadjar. He's just done a personal best and moved up to 9th. And Fittipaldi, who's just done a personal best as well and moved up to 10th position. Pepe Marti had an improvement in the first sector. Rest of the lap fell away. Miata and Villa Gomez are on laps as well. So it's very unusual. Normally what we have is cars go out of the pits together. They all set their lap times together. They come back here before, as we check in once again with Luke Browning, getting closer still to the walls.
I've heard the drivers explain and describe the walls here as slightly malleable. So I think that's potentially an attempt at just making the most of that exit. But
to who's got the lap at the limit?
Something we just saw for Pepe Marti, we barely ever see. That was a fundamental setup change in the middle of the qualifying session. You don't see push rods played with that much in the middle of a qualifying session. Maybe a bit of front wing, maybe a bit of a tyre pressure tweak, but that was a huge change to the attitude of the car.
The career so far, he's aiming to improve upon that. These are the crucial laps to set the grid for both races, and Martin's with the rest of the field now pushing on in the first sector of the racetrack. And DRS has been disabled in zone number 2, and both cars have gone very deep. Both Campos cars have gone all the way to the wall down at turn number 1. An extraordinary picture. The red flag is out, and both Camposes have gone all the way to the barrier.
You wonder whether they've both hit the floor in the braking zone on the way down there, or if that's just pure coincidence between the two of them. Looking over at his teammate, Pepe Marti. Well, let's have a look at it then.
There's one into the barrier. It's a long way. Wait for the second one. Absolutely bizarre. We begin with our championship leader. Double lockup, hits the barrier, and wait for it, Pepe Marti joins the party.
I don't know what happened. We lost the brakes.
And the plank underneath the car has lifted the front tyre off the floor.
I think my brakes died completely.
Or they've overblanked the brakes to try to get temperature in the front of the car, and then the brakes have just switched off for both drivers. So that's a pure engineering. That's a pure engineering issue for both Camposes, and it was never ridden across the road to rejoin the pit lane. Lucky boys, because it's quite a long walk. You made it sound so simple, but it's quite a long walk around to get back into the pit lane. But 4 minutes and 14 seconds is not a long time to get the tyre back up to temperature with how long this circuit is.
Yeah.
Be resumed in about 1.5 minutes. So teams will be eager to get out there, I would have thought. Expect a big queue at the end of the pit lane.
Race grid is set by reversing the top 10 of these qualifying results.
Hadjar has been noted for causing a red flag in qualifying, which may propose the utilisation of the rule for this year, the red flag rule, which costs drivers.
Any of the ducting of the car as he gets rid of that. Here's the man at the head of Q.
Why are we going first?
We have to, otherwise you get...
Technical term there, but you can understand that this is the balance that we were talking about. He doesn't want to punch a hole in the air, and
you're going to have to deliver the lap, driver who was fastest in free practice earlier on, without the toe.
Fittipaldi is at the lead of the group, doesn't want to go without a toe, so it could get a bit messy. Let's see what happens.
Love the luxury. This is not going to be an ideal preparation. There's only time to push on now, and the clock would run out by the time that they'd get back round. So, what have you got without the ideal tyre prep? How can you work your way around the optimum setup? Can you show your talent to step forward when everyone else is in exactly the same compromised position? Focusing on at the moment, but how much by? And can you take it fairly forward? The answer, if you're Kimi Antonelli, is yes, by very nearly 0.4 of a second.
He's found a purple middle sector.
It is really on the line now. And so many contenders, so many of our race winners this year, and drivers like Aaron, who have run at the front of the field, have an opportunity. But the checkered flag is out, and this is going to tick over and complete a completely different order. Hauger to 4th, Aaron to 3rd. Oh, the driver from Barbados, as Miney hits the front of the field, and Maloney takes it away from him across the line. Crawford goes to 3rd. Bortoletto goes to 3rd position. Mini on debut goes to Formula 1 one next year. Kimi Antonelli with provisional pole, but others have a chance to respond. Victor Martins is in second. For sure takes it back with the clock at 0. Dirksen found the speed for 7th. Minion debut is in 8th place. Crawford and Mansell complete the top 10. And Trident are celebrating a second pole position with Richard Verschoor.
You are on pole. You are on pole. Yes, guys. Yes.
It was just a monumental middle sector from Verschoor.
Mate, we lost pole by 17 thousandths, P2.
Man. Oh my God.
Good job, that's a good lap.
Hello everyone, and thank you for watching these F2 highlights for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for 2024. What an amazing qualifying session. Hajar and Marty both out towards the back of the order. Hajar might even lose his lap and kind of drop even further places down in the order. So the champion has to start probably last, even behind the rookie of Kulin, who is off pace by like 6-7 seconds, which is just terrible. And there should be some rules in place to stop these really bad paid drivers coming in. I don't mind if they're like a second or two off the pace, maybe even 3 seconds, but 6-7 seconds. I get he's on a second race weekend, but it's too far off the rest of the grid. I mean, he's in like F3 or even F4 kind of car spec territory here with his time. The other rookies, Mini, Browning, Mansell and Goth. Mini and Browning both did very good stuff. Mansell also very amazing. Mini and Browning are both in the top 10, and so is Mansell. 3 of the rookies have all done amazingly. So well done, guys. Goth are still struggling in their MP car. That's fine. Yeah, I think Bortoletto and Maloney and maybe even Aaron will be very happy to see Hajar all the way down there, because they can pick up some good points here and maybe overtake Hajar for the lead going into the final 2 weekends at Qatar and Abu Dhabi. So personally, I hope Bortoletto does that. It kind of makes it a very even, close fight. Maybe even we can see a champion by half a point. That's mad. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm trying to reach 2,500 subscribers, so if you can subscribe, it'd be really helpful. Thank you for watching again, and peace.